Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in. I am Troy Darden, Information Coordinator for the College of Agriculture, Science, and Technology at Delaware State University. If you have tuned in to hear our guest speaker, Ms. JaNi'a King from USDA-APHIS, then you are in the right place. Before we move on, please know that you will have an opportunity to ask questions of our guest. Simply type your questions in the chat and we will share them with Ms. King to answer as time permits. Now, allow me to introduce to you Dr. Maricas Alvarez, who is our Associate Dean for Land Grant Research in the college. He will then introduce Ms. King. Uh, Dr. Alvarez, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready, Ms. Fry.
Okay.
Hi, team and audience. Good afternoon, and welcome to Delaware State University. I am Maricas Alvarez, and the Associate Dean of Land Grant Research at Delaware State University in the College of Agriculture, Science, and Technology. Today, I have the great honor to introduce our key presenter for this webinar session. Every time I have the wonderful opportunity to introduce Ms. JaNi'a King, I remember her enthusiasm and focused approach to international experiential learning. Now, as a professional at USDA-APHIS, that's U.S. Department of Agriculture and Plant Health Services, it has become very clear why she was so attentive to bugs and plant diseases when she was in the field in Costa Rica on her international experiential learning sessions. Now she checks and inspects our imports and exports at the Port of Wilmington in Delaware. And you know, we are very pleased to have her there. Today, Ms. King will share with us her journey from DSU, Delaware State University, to where she is now at the Port of Wilmington in the state of Delaware. Please help me to welcome Ms. JaNi'a King.
Thank you so much, Dr. Alvarez. I really appreciate your introduction. Hello, everyone. As previously stated, my name is JaNi'a King. I'm a recent graduate from Delaware State University with a Bachelor's of Science in Natural Resources with a concentration in Environmental Science. While attending Delaware State University, I was afforded the opportunity to have a debt-free college experience through a program called the 1890 Land Grant Scholarship. My senior year in high school, I applied, and it is an academic-based scholarship, and I received a scholarship which afforded me, again, a debt-free college experience and paid internships throughout the United States during my college experience. While interning, I was able to network and, just get my feet wet within the United States Department of Agriculture. I got to see the administrative side of what I do here at the Port of Wilmington. I got to see the domestic program by the name of Plum Pox in upstate New York, which gave me a little bit of experience doing surveying, trapping and so on. And then I was able to intern at the illustrious Miami inspection station, where I was introduced to plant health safeguard specialists, and that just stuck with me throughout the rest of my time at Delaware State University. It was at the Miami inspection station where I was introduced via telephone to my now supervisor, Daryl Moore, who is also a alum of Delaware State College. I was able to meet with him and talk to him, and he guided me primarily into this position and mentored me and afforded me this opportunity to be where I am today here at the Port of Wilmington as a plant health safeguard specialist. While at DSU, I took advantage of all the opportunities to put myself in uncomfortable situations so that I could grow by running for Miss Junior for the 2017-2018 academic school year. I also ran for Miss Delaware State University for the 2018-2019 academic school year. As Dr. Alvarez mentioned, I went on a 3-week study abroad with him in Costa Rica, where we studied sustainable agriculture at Cartier and Earth University. It was a wonderful experience. We learned about how to calculate how areas could plant enough trees to offset their carbon footprint so that they would have a net zero carbon footprint. We learned about different ways to propagate different crops. And it was just also a wonderful learning experience to see different cultures. And I was also able to meet a fellow USDA employee in the international services. So that also opened up my eyes to how big the agency was and how we had our hands in a lot of different parts of agriculture and protecting our environment here at USDA through monitoring and doing inspections abroad. That further pushed my interest in the agency and my desire and drive to want to continue my employment with the USDA Department of Agriculture. One thing that I would say I would not change is putting myself in uncomfortable experiences, traveling abroad for the first time without my family, public speaking, reaching out, making friends from all different parts of all over the United States. It just made me a more well-rounded person and provided me with the tools that I would need to be a successful employee today. To all my current students who are currently obtaining their undergraduate degree, I would say make your experience and customize it to your liking, what you would like to do. Don't be afraid to, if you are in an internship and maybe you are placed in one area and you see another area within that agency or job, you can go and ask, like, respectfully, hi, my name is, and I would like to, have the opportunity to do A, B, C, and D opposed to what I'm currently doing. I did that at the Miami inspection station. They originally had me underneath the identifiers, the entomologists who basically identify different insects all day. I wasn't very interested in that part. So I asked, could I shadow plant health safeguard specialist? And that is how I found my love for being a plant health safeguard specialist. And again, land my job here at the Port of Wilmington, working for the United States Department of Agriculture. So with that being said, I will take this time now to transition into a presentation where I will let you guys know a little bit of what we do here at what the United States Department of Agriculture does, what APHIS, Animal Plant Health Inspection Service. That's what branch of the USDA that I work under. And then within APHIS, I work for PPQ, Plant Protection and Quarantine. I'll give you guys a glimpse of everything that we do here at the port, and then I'll open it up for questions. And I'm very eager to answer your questions and provide any feedback that I can as far as to guiding you guys into a potential internship, potential job, whatever you guys need. I'm just here for you guys to utilize me. So let's get into this presentation. Share my screen. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So yes, the United States Department of Agriculture at the Port of Wilmington. So today we're going to go over USDA's mission statement, the Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service mission statement. Then we'll go into some of the treatments we do by the name of fumigation, cold treatments. We'll also touch bases on vessel recertification, phytocertification, facility inspections, and the domestic programs. The USDA's mission is to provide leadership on food, agriculture, natural resources, rural development, nutrition, and related issues based on sound public policy, the best available science, and efficient management. APHIS Plant Protection and Quarantine Program safeguards the United States agriculture and natural resources against the entry, establishment, and spread of economically and environmentally significant pests, and facilitates the safe trade of agriculture products. At the Port of Wilmington, we protect the integrity of United States agriculture and international trade by monitoring treatments, conducting commodity and facility inspections, issuing certificates, as well as surveying domestic pests. So the first type of treatment we're going to talk about is fumigating. Fumigating is the act of releasing and dispersing a chemical so it reaches the target organism in a gaseous state. Gas concentrations are frequently monitored to ensure that effective fumigant concentration levels are maintained throughout the treatment to prevent introduction of quarantine pests. Here in the top right corner, you can see my coworker by the name of Joe. He is taking the temperature. I'm pretty sure that's a stack of grapes. Basically, what we do is we take the initial reading of the commodity's temperature, and then that will tell us how many pounds per 1,000. I think it's 1,000 feet cubed. And then we basically do a calculation which lets us know how much gas we need to introduce into the tarp, which you will see on the bottom. And then once the gas is introduced, we check at like a half hour, 2 hour, and 4 hour to make sure, again, the minimum gas concentrations are being met, so we know that the treatment was successful. Cold treatments. Cold treatments use of sustained cold temperatures as a means of insect control through rigid adherence to specified temperatures and time periods, which effectively eliminates insect infestations. Treatments can be conducted in warehouses, refrigerated compartments of transporting vessels, and individual refrigerated containers. Here you can see an international ship. The containers on the top are the individual refrigerated containers. Below the individual refrigerated containers, there are holes, and the fruits will be placed inside, and they have to keep it about 1.1 degrees Celsius for 14 days. And actually conducting or monitoring a cold treatment right now on a vessel by the name of the Runaway Bay. And essentially, we board the ship and we ask to meet the reefer or the chief engineer. They take us to the engine room. They have a hourly printout for those 14 days. Every hour on the hour, there is a printout with sensors that are monitoring the temperature in each hold. And then we basically go through hour by hour for that it doesn't go above 1.1 degrees Celsius. If it does one time, the treatment will still clear, but if it goes above 1.1 degrees Celsius and it's not like a bad sensor or anything, we will have to fail the treatment, and the customer will either have to re-export or destroy the commodity, which tends to be very expensive because we fumigate like over $100,000 worth of fruits and vegetables, give or take. Next, we'll talk about vessel recertification. Vessel recertification inspection certified that the vessel is capable of maintaining fruit pulp temperatures within the specified cold treatment schedules. So essentially, we go in and calibrate the sensors that I was previously mentioning, and we go in and we get like I can't remember the exact number of ice buckets, but they have to be 50% ice and 50% water, and then we put all of the sensors on the boats within those ice buckets. And so it takes about 2 officers to complete this. One officer will be in the holds with the ice buckets. One officer will be in the engine room with the chief engineer, and we just make sure that the sensors are reading. We ensure that the sensors are reading 0.0 degrees. And if it's not, then they have to calibrate it. If it's a little bit above 0, they know they have to get replace the sensor. And yes, so this way we can make sure that when vessels are conducting cold treatments, the temperature displayed that is printed on the printout that I was referring to before, they are accurate and they're not, off, and to ensure the integrity of the treatment, essentially. Next, we'll talk about Phytocertification. Phytosanitary plant and plant product inspections certify that domestic plants or plant products have been inspected according to appropriate procedures and are considered to be free from quarantine pests and conform to current regulations of the importing country. So essentially, a customer who would like to ship out any type of fruit, vegetables, seeds, growing media, any type of commodity that falls within that timber, they have to apply for a phytosanitary certificate. And essentially what we do is we verify the importing country's regulations, and we ensure and inspect the commodity based on that importing country's regulations, because every country has different regulations based on the different ecosystems. They have different invasive species. So one country maybe a pest of concern in one country may not be a pest of concern in another country. So we just have to make sure that when these shipments are coming from the United States, the same way that we want people to, have a regard for our environment and don't send invasive species to us, we do the due diligence as well to make sure that we are not sending any harmful pests or pathogens abroad as well. So another thing I would like to touch bases on is if it is a commercial shipment, it'll be $106, and if it is a non-commercial shipment, then it'll just be $61. And yes, essentially we're just like a catalyst in between the broker who's trying to export and the importing country to just make sure that there's a smooth transaction and nothing gets turned away at the border or anything like that. Next, we are going to talk about facility inspections. Facility inspections are systematic examinations of research establishments which certifies the facility's capability to contain actionable pests. Licensed establishments, prospective licensees, foreign manufacturers, and recipients of imported biological products are thoroughly inspected in accordance with USDA's overall compliance regulations and other requirements. I have a few of the facilities I have inspected. I've inspected research rooms in the Science Center at Delaware State University. I've also conducted facility inspections at the University of Delaware. I've done research, I've conducted facility inspections at DuPont as well as FMC. And essentially what I'm doing is I'm going around and making sure that these researchers have the proper procedure, protocol, and infrastructure to contain the pests that they are doing their research on, so that the pests, whatever they're doing research on, whether it be nematodes or any type of pathogen or actionable pest, it doesn't escape their infrastructure and go out into the environment and wreak havoc. It's very interesting. I get to go to a myriad of different research facilities, and I get to see different equipment, very expensive equipment. I think the last time, I can't remember if I was at FMC or DuPont, but he told me, the scientist informed me, it was DuPont, in fact, that all the equipment that they had and the research equipment that they had in there was worth like 3 houses. And I was like, wow. And it looked like it as well. It's pretty cool. So, and last but not least, we had domestic surveys. PPQ responds to many new introductions of plant pests to eradicate, suppress, or contain them through various programs in cooperation with state departments of agriculture and other government agencies. USDA PPQ Delaware is responsible for monitoring, surveying, and treating established pests of concern to evaluate the associated risks. Here you can see a few of our domestic pests that we trap, survey, and treat. I'm not sure, but in the top left corner, it's like a metallic beetle that is called the Japanese beetle. They will wreak havoc on any type of wheat or any type of wheat. We would like to keep them from the Midwest over to the West because that is in the wheat belt. So we don't want them. They are established here. So we're just trying to contain them at this point and keep them on the East Coast. At the top right, you can see the gypsy moth. And on the bottom, I'm pretty sure everyone knows about the spotted lanternfly. That's one of the newer domestic programs that we have. It's run by my coworker by the name of Leanne. She does a wonderful job at collaborating with the State Department of Agriculture as well as our spotted lanternfly officer and technician to basically do our best to suppress the spread of the spotted lanternfly because they are rapidly moving. They've only been here for about, I want to say 5 to 6 years, and they had been spotted in Delaware, New Jersey, Philadelphia, New York, West Virginia. Now they're in Maryland. So they're spreading pretty fast, but we're doing the best we can to monitor, survey, and treat them with both herbicide and insecticides to keep the populations down. also, this isn't like on the USDA website, but everybody knows sometimes you have to work outside of your norms. This year, Leanne and myself, we conducted a research in collaboration with a research experiment, collaborating with the Dover Air Force Base, testing new pesticides to see insecticides to be specific. We tested different insecticides to see which ones would be most effective on Japanese beetle and spotted lanternfly, because the current insecticide that they are using has stopped being produced, so they have to come up with a replacement. So we were afforded the opportunity to conduct the research, which will be used to solidify what the replacement for the current insecticide by the name of like diphenothirin. So they're trying to replace it. So we had to trap for Japanese beetle and spotted lanternfly using pheromone lures to lure them into one area, and we would collect them and then test the different pesticides on the insects and see which one had the better effect of killing them. So yes. Just as a summary, USDA-APHIS regulates and certifies treatments when a pest of quarantine significance is prevalent in a country and or commodity. We protect the integrity of the United States agriculture and international trade. We monitor treatments, conduct inspections, certifications, and as I forgot to mention, domestic surveys. Below I have my email if anyone wants to reach out to me after this presentation for any type of mentorship or guidance or anything you all need. I'm here to be your resource. I'm here to be utilized. I love outreach. I love giving back. So I'll leave this slide up for a few more seconds just to give anyone an opportunity to jot down my email if you would like to, and then I will open the floor up for questions. That hopefully you have some questions for me. So I'm going to give it a little while longer, and then we can open the floor up for questions.
Ms. King.
Yes.
Thank you. That was a very informative presentation. And I don't see questions just yet in the chat. Hopefully a couple are coming, but I do have a question right off the board.
Yes.
As I shared with you, my daughter's name is Nia, so we've got a little similarity there.
Yes.
And one of the things that she found in when she lived in Pennsylvania was that spotted lantern. Is it the fly or what is it called?
Yes, the spotted lanternfly.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And she said, "Oh, Mom, these are really pretty." Then I read about them and I said, "Okay, yes, but we're supposed to be destroying those."
You're supposed to be killing them. When you see them, kill them if you can, but they're pretty agile. If you try to step on them, they'll like jump, and they're not easy to kill, to say the least.
Right. So my question to you is that right now the most prevalent, I guess, pest of interest as far as USDA-APHIS is concerned? And if not, what is?
Okay, so it almost depends, not almost, it primarily depends on the area. It's just as I said, for even within the United States, we have different ecosystems. Down in Florida, it's like a tropical, wet and warm. Further down south is hot and dry. Then in the Midwest, then we have California, where it's like within California, there's different ecosystems. You have Los Angeles weather, San Diego weather. So, like down in Texas, I would say the number one pest of concern would be the Mexican fruit fly. That is something that's very serious. They have a lot of vendors that, stand on the side of the road with fruit, open that can, and we have, you, as everyone knows, you have immigrants immigrating back and forth across the border. They bring their own fruit, and inside the fruit will have a maggot or whatever, and so they have a lot of pop-up satellite populations of the Mexican fruit fly. I want to say down in Florida, I know one of the, it's kind of like a pathogen. It's like citrus canker. I'm not well versed in that, to be honest. I can't really speak to that too much. But in this area, as well as in California, yes, spotted lanternfly is a cause of concern. They attack hops and grapes. So we all know about Napa Valley and everything like that. So if spotted lanternfly did establish a population over there, it would be a problem, because if there was any type of change in the produce and how much is propagated and everything, and how much is harvested at the end of harvest season, of course we know if the supply is low, then the prices will be higher for grape products, jelly, jam, wine, beer, stuff that we all love. We don't want that to impact us. And we have been seeing satellite populations of the emerald ash borer, if I'm not mistaken. And we don't, if anyone is aware of the history behind that, the emerald ash borer fundamentally wiped out all the ashes within the United States. So, oh no, I said the emerald ash borer. I meant the Asian longhorn beetle. I'm so sorry. That is another, they've been seeing satellite populations pop up around I would say like North Carolina, South Carolina, like in New York a little bit as well. So those, I would say, are the top priority pests. But just as I previously stated, like based on the area, it'll determine like what type of pest you want to be worried about.
Okay, well, thank you for that very detailed answer. Very helpful. So a couple of things I'm about to do. One, I'm going to bring in Dr. Maricas Alvarez in case he has a question. And before I go, I want to share that we do have a question that came in from Mr. Matthew Blair from Tennessee State University, one of our sister 1890s, and he would like to know, can you explain the difference between, the difference in price for export inspections? I think you said $61 or $161.
Okay, yes. So, if the commodity is if the export is a commercial export, and I think we determine that by like if they'll get over $1,200 back, like from putting it on the market or so on, then it will be $106. If the shipment is non-commercial, then it will only cost $61. For example, like if a scientist at Delaware State University wanted to send wheat seeds to France, but it's just like one box of seeds, we won't charge them $106. They'll just have to pay the $61. Now, when Dole is trying to send 22,000 kilograms of grapes to Canada, they have to pay $106. So it's just like that.
Okay, Dr. Alvarez, just a second. We have a couple of more questions that came in. If you don't mind, let me squeeze those in. So Matthew followed up with, we have emerald ash borer starting here in Tennessee that is still spreading with firewood from camping. Yeah, so I don't know if you have anything you'd like to speak to there.
That is very common. It's just it's hard to eradicate and suppress and contain domestic pests because agriculture and environmental science isn't like common knowledge. So a lot of people don't really understand how some of their bad practices and bad habits can seriously impact the environment. For example, spotted lanternfly is a hitchhiker, and people don't understand that if you drive from Philly to Maryland, a spotted lanternfly could land on your car and ride all the, like, most of the times we just think in our head like, oh, the bug is going to fly off, but there are different type of insects. And as I previously stated, it's just the lack of education, the lack of knowledge. Therefore, people aren't well versed in knowing that they probably don't even know what emerald ash borer is, or what's the signs, like seeing holes in the logs and everything, and they still transfer them back and forth. So it's just a problem with like educating and getting the all of the masses within the United States to be on the same page with knowing about, um pests pests that are of importance, but like in a negative way,
Okay, well, thank you for that. I trust that Matthew got a satisfactory answer there. The next one, before Dr. Alvarez, I released to Dr. Alvarez, comes from Melanie Carroll from Delaware State University. She says that she wants to know what your biggest inspiration is for working with the USDA.
Good question.
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. I am just like passionate about the environment. I have been since I was like in middle school. I just love the environment, and I want to do the best that I can. Like, they say if you want to see a change in the world, you have to implement it in yourself. That's fundamentally what I feel like I'm doing every day when I come to work. Like, I'm doing my best to, we as a collective here at the Port of Wilmington, are all in many different ways just doing everything that we can to make sure that people always have food on their table, safe food on their table, as while protecting the overall environment, the United States environment and agriculture. So that's what keeps me going, and just knowing that what I'm doing is a purpose. Like during the pandemic, when everyone was laid off and everything, of course, it was a little bit scary to work during a time like that. But when I would go to the grocery store and see grapes from, FYI, if you guys see grapes in the grocery store from this point going forward and they're from Chile, and you're like in the tri-state area in Delaware, Maryland, stuff like that, that's from your girl. That's what we do. We do that. So it's just like I find pride in that, like going to the grocery store and seeing blueberries from Chile, or seeing grapes from Chile, or pomegranates. And I'm like, I fumigated that. I was a part of the process of making sure that safely entered into the United States, and it's in compliance. And also clementines. We do cold treatment on clementines. We treat yams. So it's just really cool to like see, you can actually see what you're doing in the world. And so that's my inspiration, I would say.
Well, that's awesome. Making immediate impact. Okay, Dr. Alvarez, I'm turning over to you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Troy. And I don't have a question. My head is swollen up with inspiration. We must hasten to thank Ms. King for this very, very informative orientation to how our imports and exports are handled to minimize introduction of pests or diseases in our trading practices. And as she has so willingly volunteered, Ms. King will be available to mentor interested students to follow her footsteps to USDA. Thank you very much, Ms. King. And we also thank our participants from all over. And but before I close off, an inspiration has just hit Miss Troy. She wants to share with everyone.
Well, not so much an inspiration, but we've got another question from Melanie Carroll before we end. At your time at Delaware State University, did you have different work sites each summer or the same one? And this,
Oh
of
my
course, is for our
goodness.
guest speaker.
Yes, I did. Oh my goodness. Anyone, I advocate for this. Like literally, if I'm in a grocery store, in the nail salon, and I see someone who looks like they're about to go to college, I always tell them, please, 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 if you can, if you're eligible, please sign up for the USDA 1890 land grant
Right.
scholarship, because it's the reason why I am where I am today. It's the reason why I'm becoming the woman I am today. Yes. To answer your question, yes. The first year, we were in Riverdale, and that's like a main corporate hub for USDA. Like I got to meet the deputy administrator. I got to meet like the senior deputy administrator, Mr. Osama. I got to meet Mr. Kevin Shea. I got to meet just like a myriad of different inspirations to me, who poured into me, giving me good good sage advice, as my mother would say, letting me know, oh, apply for every TDY. And I'm just an intern, like I don't know what a TDY is, but when I get the opportunity, I'm gonna apply for every TDY, everything. So that was my first one. And then the second one was in upstate New York, in Newburgh, New York. And then the third one was in Miami. And I was in Miami for 3 months. And they provide you with a car, and they provide you with when I stayed in New York and Miami, we stayed in a hotel. But in when they had the internship in Riverdale, all the students were afforded the opportunity to have like apartment style living. I wasn't afforded that opportunity because I am from Maryland. So I like within the government, they have different regulations. Like if you're certain miles away from a place, then they won't provide you with housing. So I didn't have housing that time, but I did. My mom allowed me to like, stay with the other students and network with them and get that opportunity. And they always had us staying somewhere nice and safe. They partnered me up with my longtime friend. Her name is Kayla Graham. We met through the 1890 program. And like when we went to Newburgh, they made sure like we stayed together. So I was never like in a state all alone by myself. They kept us partnered together. So they care about your safety, and you get paid. It's a paid internship. And yes, they fly you out. They pay for your bags, the Uber, everything. They pay for everything, and they pay you. So it's just a wonderful experience. Oh, and one more thing. And you get like the benefits, like paid time off. You get to start your retirement fund, TSP. They match what you put into your retirement. It's just, and I had all these benefits at the age of 18. And of course, I didn't understand the importance. But now, here today, like it's wonderful. It's a wonderful experience. It's a wonderful opportunity. If you have the opportunity to apply, please do so, because I think the application should be opening right. They should be open right now, and you can just go
Yep.
to USDA 1890 Land Grant Scholarship. Go online, print the application out. It's going to be thick, but it's worth it.
They will call on you for guidance as they do so, Ms. King.
Yes, and you can give them my number, Dr. Alvarez.
Okay. So, Ms. Troy, as we have said earlier, thank you very much. Now,
Yeah.
I will take this opportunity to also announce that tomorrow we'll have another webinar by USAID Policy Guru. So it will be, you will get the announcement on your in your email shortly. So, Ms. King, I think you have inspired many of our students from the questions they asked. I know you have touched them. And so be ready to have a line following you to your office by virtually, of course. And I want to thank you in advance that you will be helping many of our students to have clarity on the process to follow your footsteps.
Oh,
And
no.
thank you very much.
No, thank you. The pleasure was mine. Just like I told you on our personal phone call, this is what I live for. Pouring into others what was poured into me. And I just want to say thank you for giving me the platform and the opportunity to do that. So thank you so much. And thank you everyone who tuned in. I really appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time to hear me out. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Stay warm and stay safe as well.
Thank you very much, Ms. King.
Bye.
Bye.